Well, now I got a gal and there ain't no doubt. She got kisses so sweet to make my teeth fall out. Yo, pretty sugar. Yeah, sugar.
Welcome to Junk Food on the Road. This episode we are going to talk about
Australia again.
Western Australia this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's different.
Well, it's a lot more remote.
It is very remote.
So
When we were flying in, I saw the occasional light from like a far distance, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, in 2 days we're going to be driving up on this in a camper van, and there's like nothing.
we should start off by saying we decided to do this trip a little differently than we normally do, and we rented a camper van.
Yeah, it was practicing for being retired.
Yeah, because we're thinking, maybe there'll be a future episode of Junk Food on the Road.
Our marriage survived, sort of.
Whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
That's right.
So the other thing about how remote this was, we were driving around, and we basically, just to give you a geographic thing, we went all the way up to a place called Sharks Bay, and then all the way down to, all the way inland to a place called Kalgoorlie, and then we sort of went along the southern coast. So there was many times where we did this trip, and there was no cell phone service.
Oh yeah, we barely got cell phone service.
So that's not uncommon. I mean, in the cities, we were in Perth, and cell phone's fine there. And in some of the towns and cities, there was cell phone service, but between, nothing.
I can't tell you how many campsites we stayed at that were actually just on farms.
Yeah.
And we hung out with the animals.
Yep. So it's very remote. We saw kangaroos, and
Emus
and dolphins in Sharks Bay, and some kind of plankton that's really old and near Sharks Bay.
Well, that stuff was really cool.
But there's nothing to do.
I can't remember what it was called.
It was the oldest living one of the oldest organisms or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
Like the building blocks of from out of the primordial slime when the Earth was brand new.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty cool that things are so remote. We hit a couple of fires while we were there because we were there in the summer during the fire season, but it wasn't too bad.
And we also hit another country while we were there.
Yes, we went to a place called
the Principality
of Hutt River.
Yep.
And it was it's its own little country.
18,000 acres.
Smack sort of off to the west in Australia.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. But that has nothing to do with snacks.
No.
So, I mean...
I had, and I know it's not snacks, but it's food. The best ever pork ribs. Was it ribs? It was pork loin, pork...
Yeah. Is that the one in Kalgoorlie?
No. Oh, that was lamb.
Okay. No, it was in that place in Perth, right?
Yes. And oh my goodness, it was on a bed of celeriac that was just so buttery it tasted like real mashed potatoes.
Wow.
It was unbelievable.
I had a burger there and it was really good too.
Yeah.
In general, the meat is very good.
The pubs, holy Moses.
Kalgoorlie had a really good pub too.
Oh yeah, so awesome.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I had a pie there. I had a pie that was bigger than my head.
Yes, you did. And you ate the whole thing.
I ate the entire thing.
And I had a roasted lamb leg that was just falling off the bone and melt in your mouth.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That was really good.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back now.
Kalgoorlie's kind of a fun place.
Well, not just Kalgoorlie, but just the pub food in Australia in general. But
even in Perth,
Western Australia was amazing.
Really good rustic food. We had a couple pies and things like that, and they were good. Mm-hmm. And meats and things like that. Really, really good.
Yeah. By pies, you mean meat pies.
Yeah, meat pies.
Yeah.
And
lamb I'm a big fan of lamb.
Went to Hungry Jack's and I got this weird slushy thing that had boba pearls in it. That was kind of weird.
That's bubble tea, right?
That's bubble tea. Imagine bubble tea in a slushy. It was kind of weird, but it was good. I didn't mind it.
I had a hard time finding medium roast coffee, but I did eventually find some.
Yeah. And I mean, the nice thing about this Australian trip is that we had all the classic Australian things. We had some Tim Tams. We had some caramel koalas. It has the classic Australian stuff, but then it also has just it seems like it's a little more honest in its food, a little simpler.
Yeah.
It isn't sort of haute cuisine. It's just this, but it's really high quality.
And I have to say, the nut selection was phenomenal. And I love nuts. I believe I've mentioned before that I am allergic to sugar, and I'm not one for touting brands ever, but I found a brand of no sugar, yummy stuff like brownies and cakes called No Shoe. Get it? No sugar. And holy moly, I bought a couple of their mixes while I was there because their pre-prepped stuff was so amazingly good. And I had almost no reaction from it at all, even from like the fake sugars that you put in, because even fake sugars give me a reaction, like Splenda and stuff. And I made the baking mixes, and they were just incredible. They do an amazing job at making delicious, delicious, delicious sweet treats for people who can't, for whatever reason, have sugar.
I'm gonna say I had both their pre-made stuff, and Allison let me have a slice of the cake that she got here. And as a person who does eat sugar, I was completely satisfied with them. And you can tell where the sugar is missing, but it's not like it's a fake addition. It seems like it's a higher quality cocoa, and just they amp up the cocoa flavor, so you get this wonderful just chocolate flavor.
Oh, so good.
And that's really how they do it. I like companies that do things like that, where it's not like about just replacing the sugar with a fake sugar, because that never really works out. But it's also about adjusting the recipe to work better with it. And so what you tend to do is things like in a chocolate cake, if you're going to make a no sugar added chocolate cake, what you need to do is amp up the cocoa. And they do that so wonderfully, the snowshoe.
I desperately want them to export to Canada.
And if they happen to be listening now, we'll gladly accept free samples.
I will gladly accept paid samples. They are so good.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. Again, if anybody from No Shoe is listening to this.
Which they're not, but...
Well, you never know.
Maybe they will.
When I send them the link.
Yeah.
Then seriously, like, we want to know if we can get this anywhere else and how we can possibly get this sent to us outside Australia. And we think that you guys have got like an amazing future outside of Australia, even, because I think people would go nuts over your stuff.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even if it's just, I mean, I know Canada is not the population that the Americans have, but we can cross-border shop. So let us know if you're going to export to the U.S. so we know where to go.
Yeah, it's serious. The other thing, we're speaking of chocolate stuff, because a lot of your desserts are chocolate. Talk about the chocolate factory, the
Margaret River
chocolate.
I thought you were going to talk about caramello koalas because they're the yummiest thing ever.
They are, but we probably covered those in our last Australia one.
Probably.
But we ate more, which is, the rule.
Yeah.
And I had a Tim Tam that was a little different. You can actually read the review on Candy Critic. It was designed for the Tim Tam Slam. So.
Which is drinking coffee or tea through a Tim Tam.
Yeah. So Margaret River chocolate is sort of probably the most popular, well-known sweet thing in Western Australia. It's very popular. They have a shop near Margaret River, strangely enough.
Yeah, it was like a 20-minute drive from Margaret River.
The factory actually isn't in Margaret River, and then they also have a shop in Perth. The shop near Margaret River is actually where they make it. There's a little window you can watch them make it, and then in Perth it's just a shop to buy stuff. It's pretty good quality chocolate. The milk chocolate in particular was really nice. We got a couple desserts at the factory near Margaret River, and they were pretty good.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
So it was like, in general, it was a fine. They make a hot chocolate at the Margaret River chocolate shop that's actually just made with chocolate. It's not like cocoa powder necessarily. It's made with like chocolate, and it was so good. Like, it was really neat. I mean, it was hot outside, but I just, when I read about this, like, their famous hot chocolate, I thought, well, this place knows chocolate, and so they must know hot chocolate, so I'm going to try this out. And it was very tasty. Like, they definitely understand chocolate and how it works.
I think I had tea.
I think you did. Yeah. But you had I think you had a brownie there.
Yeah, I ate some of the sweet stuff.
Yeah.
I paid the price for it later, but I ate it. It was good. It was worth it.
And sort of their popular shape is kind of unique to Western Australia, which is the chocolate coaca.
Oh no. They're those little animals that are on that island.
It's
I can't believe we've only been back for Rottenest Island, and they have quokkas.
Choco quokkas. And so quokkas, these cute little animals that I keep coming across them, and they have like a tragic story, but
we only ever saw half of one though.
Yeah.
And it wasn't gross. It was running into a bush, and so we only saw the back half.
Yeah, but we didn't go to Rottnest Island where they're apparently everywhere. Apparently they're so docile that they just walk up to people, and so there's lots of people that have selfies with them. But there also used to be this horrible past where people used to kick them around because you could.
Quokka soccer.
I've also recently heard that quokkas are really horrible parents, and that if there's danger coming, a parent will throw its babies at the danger to stop. Which is so them.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it's a very weird animal, and I mean if you go there and you get to Rottnest Island, we just didn't have time. Check it out, but it's just a weird animal.
Another thing that we did, because we were in a camper van, was we cooked for ourselves a lot. So we tried various different meats and stuff, and we decided to try kangaroo, which this is my 4th trip to Australia. I hadn't tried kangaroo yet, and Chris's 2nd trip to Australia, and he hadn't tried kangaroo yet. So
I'll explain why I don't think we have tried kangaroo. I think in the past, kangaroo was sort of considered a gimmick thing, and really was like, tourists get it and stuff like that. So it really wasn't
we were always tourists.
Abundantly available.
Usually we were visiting family.
But it wasn't abundantly available. And I think what happened is they discovered that kangaroos, they're kind of a pest there, and people actually want them, the herds culled, because they do a lot of damage to natural environments. And so it actually became the ethical meat to eat. And so what we discovered on this trip was that you now can go to like the meat case and you find kangaroo everywhere. Like it's a common meat. It's considered the ethical meat to eat in Australia.
Yeah. And so our first shot at the kangaroo was we got these pre-prepped hamburgers, kangaroo burgers, and they were disgusting.
They were awful.
They were absolutely terrible. And so we thought, wow, kangaroo meat is gross. And then a couple of days later, we got some pre-made hamburgers, beef burgers, and they were just as disgusting. Awful. So what we learned is that the Australian grocery stores are really, really, really terrible at making pre-made burgers.
A lot of weird spices and I guess additives that just made them awful.
Disgusting. So I think we tried kangaroo again with the non-ground meat.
And we had skewers, I think.
Yeah, and that was okay.
Yeah. The other thing about barbecuing in Australia, and we might have mentioned this in the last one, but the weird thing about barbecuing in Australia is it's not really barbecuing. What they do is it's cooking outside. If that is what your definition of barbecue, then maybe you could call this barbecuing.
But they were really more like griddles.
They're griddles. They're basically giant griddles with gas that heat up. So it's a flat thing. There's no flames coming up or anything like that. And I think there's a canister of gas.
You can't even get that nice little sort of
you don't get a
grill char thing, because like they're just flat, like
metal.
Griddle. Yeah, they don't even have little ridges on them.
Yeah.
They're just flat griddles.
So yeah, I mean, everybody always sort of says, Australia barbecue, and it's like, to be honest, every place we ever barbecued in Australia, including on our first trip, were these flat griddle things, and
it's fun enough.
It's cool to be outside. It's all that. Like it's definitely like there's that, but for what I would say most North Americans would look at that and say you're not really barbecuing.
Yeah.
And particularly if you're a purist, if you're like a no gas purist, doesn't exist.
Yeah, there's like no charcoal. That's probably a good thing though, cause
the fires.
Yeah.
They have a lot of forest fires, so I don't know if there's something that's evolved. Like maybe like way back when regular barbecues were a thing, and then they got rid of them because of all the forest fires, or I don't know where that came from. But if you go to Australia and you're thinking I'm going to put a shrimp on the barbie, you're going to be very disappointed by what's going on. It's like going to a.
Apparently they don't actually say put a shrimp on the barbie in Australia because they call them prawns there.
But yeah, it's more like teppanyaki than it is.
Yeah.
Than it is a barbecue.
Yeah, but it's still fun.
It's still fun, and you're outside, and the cool thing about it is, in this particular thing, you can buy whatever you want, fry it up yourself. So we did a lot of sort of shopping on our own, and we did a lot of. It was kind of cool with the camper van because we had a fridge, so we were able to sort of store things, and it was nice that way. That was one of the nice things about having the camper van. And
my goodness, the groceries are spectacular there.
Yeah, the grocery stores are great. There's a few things, they're expensive in general. Everything's expensive.
Well, it's so remote too.
Yeah, particularly I don't know if I always thought Sydney was kind of expensive too, so I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know if there's anywhere cheap in Australia, but so far to my experience and what I remember, not really. Everything kind of expensive, and the remoteness is very expensive. So yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, we drove a lot.
Lots of lamb. I ate lots of lamb.
I had lots of different burgers and pies and stuff like meat pies.
Yeah, we went to a couple of butcheries. It was pretty good. There was that candy shop in Margaret River too.
That was okay. It was
weird.
kind of standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the candy. There was a couple. I mean, there was a fudge place too.
You got those balls.
Yeah, you can check Candy Critic. I reviewed them all.
Yeah, it's like bull's balls and kangaroo balls and sheep's balls and.
I don't think they're sheep. Unicorn balls.
Unicorn balls.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they like gobstoppers or something? I don't even know.
Various things, but yeah, I mean, so it was fine. There was a fudge place, and Margaret River's sort of touristy, so it has sort of all the tourist trapping, snack and treat shops and stuff. But what was that place? I got fish and chips. We went to Denmark. The pub in Denmark too was also really good.
Oh yeah, and they were really. No, that wasn't. Was it Denmark where they had that place that was famous for its meat pies?
Yes, we.
And you tried to get a lamington there, and it didn't work out for you.
Yeah. I didn't really have.
You eventually had a lamington.
I eventually had, and I got some lamington flavored chips.
Yeah.
Which were weird.
Yeah, lamington it's sort of like is it a gummy cake or something?
It's just a coconut cake.
It's just a coconut cake. Okay.
Coconut chocolate cake.
I did not have the lamington.
It's not spectacular, but you should probably try it if you go to Australia because it's a thing.
Yeah, but there was that really good pub there.
Yeah, there was definitely good.
And we struck up a conversation with the farmers that were at the table next to us.
We regularly had great food.
Yeah, and interesting conversations.
Always.
For better or for worse.
Yep.
Always interesting. That for the farmers, they were awesome.
Yeah.
It was the evangelists that were a little bit rude.
Yeah, it's probably not the subject for a thing called junk food.
Yeah, it's true.
So, well, I think that's a pretty good description of our Australian trip.
I think so.
Cool. So, well, thanks for listening to another episode of Junk Food on the Road. As always, you can follow us on Twitter @CandyCritic, or go to candycritic.org and find links to all of our other social media, including Instagram, Tumblr, and Facebook. You can also go to patreon.com/candycritic and find links or find all kinds of extra content. You get content ahead of time, bonus stuff. We're doing a whole bunch of cool stuff that I think the patrons are really gonna like, and I think it's a pretty cool thing, and it helps support the site, and helps keep cool content like this going on. So, well, thanks for listening to another episode of Junk Food on the Road, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Well, now I got a gal and there ain't no doubt. She got kisses so sweet to make my teeth fall out. Yo, cane sugar, yeah, she's your cane sugar. Your cane sugar, sweet as she can be. She put lipstick on his candy apple red, strawberry blonde on her pretty head. Yo, cane sugar, yeah, I'm your cane sugar. Your cane sugar, sweet as she can be. Oh! I'm like a little bitty kid in a candy store.